What's up, y'all? It's your boy, the network, in the building. Today's lab is lab number 35 in the book, configuring Inter-VLAN routing, otherwise known as router on a stick. What it do, Fat Finger Squad? We got my man Gonzalo representing Buenos Aires in the house. We got Danny in the building. We got a new member over here, a new subscriber. I don't know if you're a new subscriber or not, but Lawrence Little in the building. Where you tuned in from, Lawrence? In case you guys don't know, what we typically do is we just lab up some CCNA topics, and the guide that we're following in this is this book called 101 Labs Cisco CCNA version 4. You can get a copy of this book from 101labs.net, or there's a link in the description box below which takes you to an Amazon link and allows you to get that book from Amazon in case you have Amazon Prime and get it shipped to you real quickly. It's authored by Paul Browning and Farai Tafa. Experts agree that we retain only 10% of what we read, but 90% of what we do. So I like this book because I get to do my stuff hands-on. Of course, I get to do stuff hands-on at work, but, you know, how often do I get to break things at work? So, we got, yeah, Danny said, Danny, that beat gets me hyped up too, man. You know, I got this beat from my man years ago. I used to rap a long time ago, and that was one of the beats he gave me to rhyme over, and I ain't never really used it, so I said I'm gonna use that for my intro. Cause I was in lab every day. That's what we tried to do. You know what? I tried to lab this weekend, and I just did not have the I guess the motivation to. I wanted to do something with firewalls, either a Friday or Sunday, but I ended up just, you know, playing hoops and just other stuff, man. And yeah, I didn't do any labbing this weekend, unfortunately, but you know, that's what we're here for on the weekdays. In case you guys don't know, we lab like this, a live stream Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got my man Brendan in the building. We got EZ. Lawrence Little coming out of Birmingham, Alabama. That's the Gump. Don't they call that the Gump down there, don't they? Let's see. Yeah, I went out there. I went to visit a friend of mine. He went to school at Alabama State over there. Yeah, I went down there twice, man. I like it out there. But anyways, the objective of this lab exercise is to configure a router to provide inter-VLAN communication. By default, hosts in one VLAN cannot communicate with hosts in another VLAN. So if y'all know anything about VLANs, it's basically virtual local area networks. So you kind of like divide your networks logically. Like say you have a switch with like 48 ports. You can put the first 24 ports in one VLAN and the next 24 ports in another VLAN. But if they're in two separate VLANs, they can't communicate with one another. So what you got to do is put a router in between them to route the packets between the two VLANs. So we're going to do something similar to this, but we're going to have multiple VLANs. So it's going to look kind of a little crazy, but hopefully you got the book and you'll see the topology and stuff. We got my man Plant-Based Brother in the building. We got Nikhil, I was going to say Nicki Minaj, but that don't look like it. Nikhil Manjanith. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, man. Sorry for butchering your name if I did, but yeah, so this lab says here, the purpose of this lab, inter-VLAN routing configuration is a fundamental skill. Most networks typically have more than one VLAN, which is just like I mentioned, and the hosts in these VLAN are required to communicate with each other if the need arises. 9 times out of 10 they do, but the reason why you want to put them in separate VLANs is for security reasons, or maybe you want to put all phones in one VLAN, all servers in another VLAN, all, you know, the HR department in one VLAN, so that way they're segregated, right? And that's what VLANs do, but sometimes you communicate with one another, and that's where inter-VLAN routing comes in. As a Cisco engineer, as well as in a Cisco CCNA exam, you'll be expected to know how to configure inter-VLAN routing. In this example, you don't have a layer 3 switch, so you must use a router to route, and that's what we're going to do. This lab has a difficulty, it doesn't say it in the new book, but it says this lab has a difficulty of rating of 9 out of 10. So we might get our hands, we might get do a little troubleshooting today if they trip us up here. So if you have GNS3, go ahead and do that. I'm going to use GNS3 today. I'm going to try. Y'all know GNS3 don't like me, but I'm going to try to do it. I like GNS3, and I just want to try to see if I can get that going. If you have Packet Tracer, which is a free application that you can use to kind of test this as well, You can go to the Cisco Learning Network, download that application and follow along with us as well. You could also use EVNG. There's also another program called, I believe, CML, Cisco Modeling Labs, formerly known as Cisco Viral. So you can use that. Sir, could you please tell us, is it better to run lab on a local server or on a VM? On a VM, because if your laptop or whatever, or like I have a laptop, does not have enough resources, it's better to run it on a VM. So, and even the VM, it takes strings up my CPU and memory. So it takes up, sometimes y'all see I've had a stream where some of my streams was lagging because all the resources were being strained by GNS3. So it's better to have a GNS3 VM. So for this lab, what we're going to need is, looks like 4 routers and 2 switches. If y'all want to go ahead and drag and drop a couple right now, I like to talk for a little bit just to kind of let some stragglers come in and let everybody log in to catch up with us and stuff like that. But in the meantime, I'm going to get 2 switches going at least. Switch 1, and there go my switch 2 right there. We're going to create a trunk between those 2, and then we're going to have 2 switches hanging off of those guys, right? So let me move this up here and move both of them up here, actually. Y'all got any questions or anything so far? Good question, Nikhil, because you know, I was confused about that too. It's GNS3 is not only can it be buggy, but it's hard, it's difficult to set up. So if you don't have GNS3 or you don't have it set up or anything like that, you can use Packet Tracer, I believe, to run this lab. So if y'all want to do that, go ahead and do that. I don't want to say it's an easy lab because, like I said, this book says it's a 9 out of 10 out of difficulty rating. So I may need some of y'all help on this one. We're going to have 4 VLANs in this: VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 30, VLAN 40. I would put the topology and the text on here so y'all can see, but y'all know my channel got violated. It got shut down by YouTube because they said that I was spamming. So I don't want to violate any kind of copyright guidelines or anything like that. If you want to know how to follow along other than watching this book, watching this video rather, get a copy of this book from 101labs.net or from Amazon. There should be a link down below that'll take you to Amazon to get a copy of this book. I believe it's like $40 or something like that, and you can follow along with us. So we got switch 1. I'm gonna go ahead and name him switch 1, and the other guy switch 2. While I'm talking, let me get some labeling here, so that way that'll get you guys the topology. Right? We're gonna get router 1, router 2, router 3. And you know what? This is a lot in here for my computer. So hopefully router 2 is gonna be down there. Y'all got any questions so far or anything like that? That was a good question, Nikhil, because like I said, it took me a little bit to kind of get GNS3 going and how to understand how it connects and everything like that. If you guys know David Bombal, he has a YouTube channel that has a step-by-step walkthrough on how to connect GNS3. As a matter of fact, you go to GNS3's website, GNS3 Lab or something like that, or GNS3.com. The walkthrough to install GNS3 takes you to David Bombal's YouTube. So that's how good his tutorials are. So if you need to know how to set up GNS3, just go straight to David Bombal's website or his YouTube channel. So we got 4 routers, and then we got the 2 in the middle, right? We're going to create a trunk between these 2. So let's go ahead and connect those bad boys up. FA01, FA01. But I don't have fast Ethernet. I have gigabit Ethernet. So I'm going to go gig 01 to gig 01. Right? Y'all with me so far? Any questions or anything? All right. Let a couple people straggle in too. We're going to connect router 1 to FA02 and then 2 to 03. And then the same thing on the other side, but 3 and 4, right? So let me get some look at my interfaces, which is with this button right here. This is how you hide your interface labels, right? Or bring them up, rather. Y'all with me so far? Y'all with me? I didn't lose anybody yet, right? There's no dumb questions in here. Remember, anybody that has any kind of questions, you know, there's a couple smart people in the chat room there. If I'm not able to answer it, or if I'm not able to glance in the chat room real quick, They can answer you guys' questions. I believe I got some moderators in there. If not, then I will try my best to answer while I'm labbing this up. So we're going to connect router 1 to the FA00 to FA02 on that guy, right? Which in this case is going to be GI02, right? Y'all see my labeling so far? Y'all with me? And then this guy is going to connect to 03. So 0 to 03, right? I haven't powered these bad boys on just yet. It's very annoying as I am running some VPNs too, so VM interfaces keeps meddling with my VPN interfaces and vice versa. So I was running on a local server as my VM have. Yes, man, it gets kind of tricky, man. It took me a minute to figure out, you know, which interface to use and stuff like that. That is very true, Nikhil. But somehow I was able to get it going. And I mean, even these switches, it took me a minute to get them working. So, but GNS3, once you get it set up, man, it's a great tool to, you know, lab something up real quick. Well, actually, Packet Tracer is really a good tool to use to lab something up real quick. But the problem is GNS3 is, Packet Tracer is really limited with its commands, right? So, you can't do everything. It gave you just enough to pass the CCNAs in, right? So router 4 is going to connect to FA03, right? So 00 to 03. And that guy's going to connect to 02. So 00 to 02. Like that right there. Y'all with me so far? I didn't lose anybody yet, right? I hope you guys are with me. That's going to be, I'm going to move that guy over and let him know he is switch 1 like that. Let them know he is switch 2 like that. Put the GI02 there just to move that, just make it look a little bit cleaner for you guys. I'm gonna move these guys over like that. Oh, come on, man. Get out of this. Yes, sir. Yep, for sure, for sure. I guess we might be able to power these bad boys on. Hopefully this thing don't blow up because I'm gonna power all of them on at the same time. Or maybe I should just power each one one at a time because this computer be acting funny, man. What's crazy is we got a set of VLANs at the bottom and a set of VLANs at the top. So I don't know which goes to which. Oh, I think the top ones go to router 1 and router 3, and the bottom ones go to router 2 and router 4. So hopefully you guys got the book because it gets a little tricky. And like I said, the book labels this lab as a 9 out of 10 rating. So they're saying this is pretty difficult for a CCNA level test. Lab here. What else? Let me go ahead and get the labeling for the interfaces so y'all can see what we working with, right? Let me get a little bit of labeling here. In the meantime, anybody catch the All-Star game yesterday? I didn't watch that All-Star game. Forgot what I was doing. I fell asleep early. Yeah, I didn't even watch that game. We said we wanted a this guy right here. We're gonna have a couple interfaces here. Sub interfaces is what we're gonna have here. FA00.10 is gonna be 10. 0.0.1/28. Ooh, they that's how they tricked us. They got a couple different sub interfaces with this, or subnet masks. 0/0. I think we're gonna take some time with this one. We're gonna take our time with this one. So FA00 10.0.20.1/25. I hope I didn't make that mistake there, right? So next sub interface is FA0.0.30 10.0.30.1/29. Yeah, with me so far? Any questions? Anything about sub interfaces? Remember, sub interfaces are like virtual interfaces. So you use that to create, other networks, or like kind of like gateways for other networks rather. 40 10.0.40.1/27. That's the labeling. What are we gonna do? So task 1 says to configure the host name on switches 1 and 2. They just wanted to do host names. So I guess let's go ahead and power these bad boys on. I think that's already gonna be router 1 once you power it on. He's already going to be 3. That should be 1 and 2, etc., etc., etc. So maybe I can power all these bad boys on. Y'all with me so far? I hope y'all can still hear me. Y'all kind of quiet in the chat room today. Y'all paying attention, huh? Because, yeah, like I said, this is going to be kind of difficult. So we're going to take our time, and we're going to make sure we don't get no fat fingers. If we don't fat finger any IP addressing today, we got to make sure our subnet masks are correct, because they kind of did some tricky ones. There's another one right over here we got to put in. That guy is going to be 10.0.30.3/29. What else he got going on here? Okay, so it looks like router 1 has all of those sub interfaces. Okay, so that's what I think is going on here. I'm gonna move this right over here, because that's what it looks like they're telling us. And then we have FA00, this guy over here on router 4 is 10.0.40.4/27. Easy E says he is focused. I say Easy E, easy. Shout out to Easy E, right? NWA. Nikhil is focused as well. That's right, man. Let's stay focused. I'm gonna try not to be, give too much dumb commentary to throw you guys off. And let's make sure we get this right, because I don't want to do no troubleshooting today, and I want to go to bed early. So let's add a note for this guy. This interface is going to be 10.0.20.2/25 subnet. Y'all with me so far, right? So that interface is going to be that IP address, right? And so on and so forth, right? And I believe router 1 is going to have all of these sub interfaces there. I think that's what's going on here. Because we got Brian representing Mumbai over there, right? So let's go ahead and console into router 1. I'm sure he's already router 1, but we're going to console into him anyway. I'm going to move these guys a little lower so that way we can see everything. I don't want too much things in the way there. Move these guys over. Boom. Like that. And get this guy over right here. Boom. Let me make that a little smaller so y'all can see the topology while I work at the same time. Don't look like I can go too low, but it is what it is. Router 1 is already router 1, so I don't need to do that. All right, so what else are we working with here? Router 2, let's go ahead and console into him. Let's power him on and console into him. So now today we got 6 devices. Y'all remember we was playing with only like 2 devices, simple topology, 1 or 2 networks. This is like this book says, it's a 9 out of 10. If you're a CCNA level, if you're at the CCNA level, this should be somewhat at least easy for you to figure out. If not, then it may trip you up a little bit. But you know what? We all have support. We got Nikhil, who just jumped out of his bed, and he is fully focused, and he is going to help us out because he must have had his coffee or something. I have my caffeine. And what's up, Brian? I saw the vid. Congrats on your CCNA. That's right, man. Yeah, that's true, man. Congrats on Brian passing his CCNA once again. Last week, he was all nervous and stuff like that. He was like worried about subnetting and stuff like that. But you know what? Brian was able to get through it. And I definitely don't want to take credit. I know you say you watched a lot of my tutorials on my channel and stuff like that. But you know what? Danny was, not only was he watching those tutorials, but he studied on his own. And he also labbed with us on these live streams here. So router 2 is already labeled as router 2. Let's go ahead and power on switch 1 and console into him. So remember, this guy is a trunk right there. And another reason why, remember I said I want to power these bad boys up one at a time. I probably could power just all of them all at the same time. But like I said, my laptop be acting funky. I don't have like an actual server or something really beefy. This laptop only got like, what, 32 megabytes or gigabytes of RAM. So let me see. I don't even know. What's it? Sysinfo? Let's see. I only got 16 gigs of RAM. That's not very I mean, that's all right, but you know, GNS3 is a pretty heavy application. So Brian's working on his Linux Plus. That's what's up, Brian, man. I think I need to get some Linux in too, man. There's a lot of stuff I want to do. I said I wanted to, collab with my man Patrick. I'll leave a link in the description for his channel for you guys. But he does stuff on like voice and collaboration and stuff like that. I like, playing with the telepresence devices at my job. Today we was installing Neat bars. I don't know if you ever heard of those. They're like conferencing devices that they use for Zoom meetings and stuff like that. Well, I had to help this guy install them. Well, he was installing them, doing the cable and stuff like that. I just had to make sure they were in the correct VLAN. They was able to get to the Wi-Fi and stuff like that and connect. And, it was pretty cool to do all of that. So I like, messing with like video telepresence devices and stuff like that. So that's why I want to, get a little bit of that. But I also want to do some Linux, also want to get into a little bit of cloud computing and stuff like that. So I don't know about you guys. Do you have any community forums or anything where we can all exchange and collab together? That's a great idea, Nikhil. Somebody keeps telling me. I had somebody that emailed me about it, and somebody has sent me a DM on Twitter. It was like, "Yo, you need to start a Discord server and get everybody to collab so we can exchange ideas and stuff like that." That's a great idea. I just haven't gotten around to it, man. I just be having projects at work, live streams on every 8 o'clock, and then I haven't even done the tutorials on my channels anymore because I've been having a lot of fun doing these live streams with you guys. So haven't had time to do all of that, but maybe when I have some time, I'm gonna go ahead and just power these bad boys on. Switch 2, are we consoled in the Switch 2? The Switch 1 is powered on. And let's see, is he labeled as Switch 1? He is not, so we need to fix him, right? So we go to enable global config mode, and let's do a no IP domain, because y'all know I always be fudging that up. No IP domain lookup, and then let's change him to host Switch 1, and let's go ahead and write that to what we got so far. Let's go ahead and console into Switch 2. Make him Switch 2. You guys with me so far? Bruh. What I learned today at work, man. So we had a switch that went down, whole building that went down. And I'm sitting here trying to get this thing installed, right? Go to replace it, and I replaced it with a switch that did not support PoE. I mean, it did support PoE, but the PoE wasn't working for some reason. I'm like, I got this thing prepped all ready to go. Didn't even test PoE, and it didn't work. So I'm like, all right, so I'm going to have to take this thing out, pull it out. And I'm like, let me go ahead and test the other one. Tested, and I couldn't get the backup image, the backup config file onto it. I was trying to TFTP from my laptop to the switch. And for some reason, I couldn't get the two to communicate. And I'm just like, what is going on here? I'm just like, I know this is simple. I only got to put the two, just make sure I put the laptop and the switch on the same network, and then I should be able to get the backup running config onto the switch. And the only thing that was stopping me was the damn firewall on the damn laptop. As soon as I turned off the firewall, it was able to ping each other, and I was able to get it back. So that's one thing you guys got to make sure. Whenever you can, it was able to communicate from the switch to the laptop. No, from the laptop to the switch, but the switch couldn't communicate the other way. So if you're not getting any kind of bi-directional communication, then, check your routing or check the firewall. And that's what I ended up having to do. Turn off the firewall, and boom, it was able to communicate, and I was able to get the running config. Oh, it took me like half a day. That wasn't the only thing that stopped me, but it was like, that took a lot of time to get through. So that's one thing to look into. Switch 2 is waking up very slowly. While that's going, let's console into 3 and 4. Switch 2 is waking up. Come on, Switch 2. Go ahead and wake up. Nikhil just woke up. He had his caffeine and he's ready to go. So why don't you wake up? Please get the Discord community server up soon. That's a great idea, man. I think I need to do that. You at least the third person that made that suggestion, man. It's just, y'all don't understand. It's a lot of work to get a YouTube channel. I used to think, oh man, you just record and talking shit, right? Nah, man. It's a lot of work behind a YouTube channel, man. It is, man. Just like the intro, the music, and the, just to be able to come up with some material to kind of like, to teach and learn at the same time, That's why I like this book, because it gives me something to follow, and it gives me something to, go over some stuff that I might not know. Like, yes, I have my CCNA, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some stuff that's going to trip me up in this book. because I don't know everything. Switch 3 finally decided to wake up, or Switch 2 rather. But what was preventing the reverse traffic? Any ACLs? No, just the firewall, my man. Just the firewall. Because the switch, let me see. The PC was able to ping his gateway, which I set just arbitrarily, which was the switch. And then he was able to ping the switch's routed interface that I have directly plugged up. But then when I'm on the switch that I was preparing, it couldn't ping the laptop. It could ping the routed interface on the switch itself, but it couldn't ping the laptop. And I was just like, what the heck? Something's wrong here. And then disable host-based fire. Yeah, that's exactly what I did, Brandon. I just disabled the Windows Defender firewall, and then boom, it worked. Open UDP port 69 inbound. Yeah, I probably should have just done that. I could have just done that, but I ain't have time, man. I had some users that were like, hey, so when is the internet gonna get back on? I just turned off that firewall, and boom, I was able to get that running config onto my, which reminds me, I got to turn that firewall back onto my laptop. So anyway, Switch 2 decided to wake up. We'll go ahead in global config mode, change his host name to Switch 2. We are going to, y'all know I always make these typos, so go ahead and turn off the domain lookup. Right, y'all know what that is, right? So that way it doesn't do any kind of lookup for domain names and try to do a reverse. The switch is the TFTP client, and the laptop is the TFTP server in that instance. The laptop needs inbound 669. That's good to know, Brendan. That's a good way to filter it. That way I ain't got to turn off the whole damn firewall, but I just ain't have time to figure out what port number and all that. So awesome you learned that, homie. Yeah, man. That's good to know, though. Next time I'll look for inbound port 69 UDP to turn it off, and then and make sure that is off. But yeah, I just turned off the whole firewall, and boom, it worked. So router 3 is up, and he is already named router 3. And then the last one was router 4. Yeah, I know I want to try to like knock these out in an hour, because I don't like keeping y'all up too long. But at the same time, this lab says, the book says this lab is a difficulty 9 out of 10. So somewhere this is gonna trip us up. We got my man S Smooth representing BK in the house. Yo, shout out to you guys, man. Go ahead and put your area code in the chat, so that way I know where everybody's from. I know S Smooth is from Brooklyn because my brother's from there. That's the only one, and I know Gonzalo from Buenos Aires. We got Brandon from Mumbai. Go ahead and put y'all area code in the chat. That way we know where everybody's at, man. So in case you know somebody that's in your hometown, you can be like, yo, let's link up. Task 2. You guys ready? Task 2. So we got 6 tasks. So we're on task 2 right now. Configure switch 1 and switch 2 as VTP transparent switches. By default, what are they out the box? Do you guys know? That's your pop quiz. Pop quiz for the day. Before I even do that, right? How can we check that? And what is the default mode for VTP? They want us to put it in transparent mode. We got Brendan out of 757, Virginia Beach. We got Who Am I from 718. Okay, so you from round away from S Smooth. We got Brendan out of Connecticut. We got a Brandon out of Virginia Beach, and we got a Brendan out of Connecticut. That's what's up. Never been to Connecticut. I think I have when I was like younger, when I went to like a camp. I used to live in New York City, and they took us to like some campgrounds and stuff like that to do a little outdoor camping. And I don't remember if it was like New Hampshire or Connecticut or upstate New York. I don't even remember. It was like elementary school. But yeah, so I used to be from the 212 area code. So my area code is 407, if you guys don't know. That's basically Orlando, Florida, Central Florida area. So if anybody is not going to answer that, then I'll let y'all know. So by default, the switches out the box, they're in VTP server mode. And we can verify that with show VTP status, right? So we just do show VTP status. Remember, we didn't do anything to the switch, and by default, it's in server mode, right? And we can check that with switch 2, show VTP status, and you'll see it's in server mode, which means you can create VLANs, you can pass them on to another switch, you can delete VLANs, you can modify them. That's what you can do in server mode. Now, in transparent mode, you can do that also, but all of the VLANs will stay locally within you. You're not going to pass on VTP information to the next switch. So that's why they want to put it in transparent mode. So let's go ahead, put switch 1 in VTP transparent mode. We go to global config mode and just do VTP mode transparent. And now there, right there, it says setting device to VTP transparent mode for VLANs. And what do we want to do after we do that? We want to verify, right? Just like my boss says at work. Verify what you've done. And after that, when you're done with it, verify it. After that, when you're done with that and you verified it, verify it again. So kind of like 3 times. Show VTP status. And we do a lot of verification with the show commands, right? So right there, we're in transparent mode. That lets us know. We got to do the same thing on switch 2. Global config mode, right? VTP mode transparent, right? And we verify that with do show VTP status. And we can see he is now in transparent mode. So we're good to go so far, right? Let's save our work, right? And let's save our work on this guy, right, mem? So we've configured switch 1 and switch 2 as transparent switches, right? Both switches should be in a VTP domain named Cisco. Secure VTP messages with the password capital Cisco. So they want the domain name as Cisco for VTP and the password is Cisco VTP. What happens when an old switch with lower VTP revision number enters the network? Now, Brian, are you giving us a pop quiz, or you truly want to know? Because we know you just got your CCNA, and I think you know the answer to that question. You just want to know if one of us know the answer to that. It's all good though. Somebody else answered that question, because I know the answer to that. What happens when an old switch with a lower VTP revision number enters the network? It's a good question though. So we can verify the revision number. Show VTP status. Right now we are in revision number 0. We haven't done anything to the VLANs yet though. That's why. And we don't have a domain name right there. We don't have a domain name. So remember, switches need to be in a specific domain name when they're a server or whatever like that. They don't have to be, but if you have clients and stuff like that, for them to gather information from the server, they got to be in the same domain. But they're going to be they're going to be transparent, so all their VLANs are going to be contained within each other. So they're going to be transparent from one another. We're going to have one set of VLANs on switch 1 and one set of VLANs on switch 2. Becomes server. Okay, yes, exactly. Higher revision. That's why I was like, I think Brian's trying to give us a trick question there, because it's really the higher revision number that kind of trumps the other one. You're basically, whoever has the higher revision number is going to trump all of them if he's a server. So, Brendan is over there laughing like, man, is this guy trying to like quiz us, or does he really want to know? But anyways, so let's put him in the domain Cisco. So we configure VTP domain and then capital CISCO, right? Once you do that, it changes the name from null to Cisco, right? So it was right here, null it didn't have anything, to Cisco. So now it's Cisco. We can verify that, right? We verify, and when you're done, verify. And when you're done with that, verify it again. Didn't show VTP status. And right now, the domain is Cisco right there, right? And then we're going to put the password, right, which was Cisco as well. So much for security, right? VTP password. And he said, all caps, Cisco. Setting device to VTP password, right? If we verify it, you'll notice show VTP status. There is no password. It's not in there, right? You don't see the password when you do show VTP status, but if you do a show run, believe it should be in the show 1, right? VTP password's not there. What you got to do, it's not in the show 1 either. So notice it's not in the show run. It's not in show VTP status. Does anybody know where you can get the password? Just to if you wanted to verify it. I guess every switch in the network loses VLANs. It could, yes, if he has a higher revision number and they're in the same domain. Brendan puts a bomb there. Yes, you could potentially wipe your VLANs if he has a higher revision number. That's correct. Although I haven't tried it out. We could, but they're in transparent mode, so that's kind of like a safe way, a safeguarded version. A lot of organizations might have switches that don't allow you to turn off VTP. So what you do is you put it in transparent mode. That's kind of a way to circumvent that problem, or to go around it in a way. Anybody know how to verify the password? While y'all figure that out, I'm going to go to switch to global config mode and put the domain name as Cisco, all caps, and the password VTP. Come on, man. Let's change that to logging synchronous. Come on, man. We got to go to line config mode to do that. Line console. And then logging synchronous. That way it's not typing all over what we wrote, right? And then VTP password, all caps, Cisco, right? Anybody know how to verify the password? Either y'all don't know or y'all just watching. So it's all good. It's show VTP password. So it's not in the running configuration. It's not in show VTP status. The password is actually, you actually have to type in show VTP password and then you'll see the password. That's how you get the password, how you can verify it. So we've done task 2, right? We set both switches to transparent mode, both switches in the Cisco VTP domain, and both password Cisco. So now we're on task 3. So I guess we're halfway done. No, we got to do task 3 and then we'll be halfway done. There's 6 tasks here, right? For y'all that just tuned in, if you want to follow along, we get our information from this book, 101 Labs Cisco CCNA version 4. You can get a copy of this from 101labs.net, or there's a link in the description box below that takes you to Amazon, and you can get a copy of this book from there. It is an affiliate link, so I do get a portion of it if you buy the book. So a very small portion, like pennies, but it is what it is. Just trying to promote it. They get more than I do. Maybe if I write my own book, I'll get more money. I haven't gotten a YouTube check just yet. Let's move on. Configure and verify FA01 on switch 1 and switch 2 as an 802.1q trunk, and configure VLANs as depicted in the topology above. So what we got to do here is make this guy a trunk. That link right there, y'all see that one that's red? We got to make that a trunk, which means it's going to allow all VLANs to pass, right? And then they want us to, what do they want us to do? Make it a trunk. And then they want us to put VLANs on switch 1 and a certain number of VLANs on switch 2, as depicted as illustrated in the diagram. I don't have the diagram here, but if you have the book, you'll see the diagram. Y'all could watch. Y'all could just follow along as well. So, switch 1. Let's see what we got trunking so far. Show interfaces trunk. There is nothing that's trunking, right? So we need to put GI00 on that side to trunk, right? And we got to go on this side to make GI00 to trunk on that side. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go to global config mode, interface GI0/1, and we say we're going to hard code them as a trunk with switch port. Well, first we need to make it a 802.1q trunk. So we got to do switch port trunk encapsulation .1q, and then we hard code it as a trunk by doing switch port mode trunk. Show VTP pass. That's correct, Lawrence. Now, I don't know if you said that after I did that or before I did that, but yes, you're correct, Lawrence. VTP transparent is best practice, or at least it used to be. Brandon, that is correct. It is best practice, but you could also, on newer iOSs, if you do VTP mode off, and you could just shut it off altogether. So you won't have to worry about wiping your VLANs or whether it's on the same VTP domain, etc. So you can just turn it off. One organization I used to work for had it in off mode, and another one had it in transparent mode. So you pick and choose on what best practice is. VTP, Easy says, when we are working, do you use or ever use those labs as reference to complete a task, or you just remember it all? You just gotta kind of like, your brain is kind of like a knowledge base, man. A lot of the stuff that I learn as I'm trying to teach you guys, I'll be like, okay, I might have got stuck in a lab and then somebody pop in the chat and be like, hey, you got to do this. And I'm like, oh, that's right, I remember. I might remember at work. Or, you know, it's just like the more you start doing this stuff, the more commands you start remembering, the more errors you start remembering. So your brain is kind of like a live knowledge base, if that makes any sense. So I don't know everything. This is why I like labbing with you guys, because I learned, like, for example, Lawrence just told me that show VTP password. I don't know if he did it after or before I said it, but just little things like that kind of helps me remember. Or I might make a joke to kind of associate this video. So that's how I kind of remember it. I don't remember it all, but I remember a lot of this stuff. But it's just kind of labbing with you guys. So I made GI01 on this guy a trunk interface, right? We can verify that. Remember, when you're done, verify it. After you're done with it, verify, and when you're done with it, verify it again, right? Show interfaces trunk, and now we're showing this side of the interface right there. GI00 is now trunking. He is encapsulation.802.1q. He is trunking, and the native VLAN is 1. They didn't ask us to change it yet, but its trunking mode is on, and we're allowing all VLANs to pass. We got to do the same thing on switch 2. So what we did over here on this trunk, we got to do the same thing on that side, which we might be showing some errors because one side is probably trunking and the other side is probably in access mode, and they're not. So we could do show interfaces trunk, and we can see, oh, now he's trunking. So he is auto, so we don't have to do it on the other side. You know why? Because this end right here lets us know it negotiated. So it was an automatic. So we hard-coded this side as a trunk, and he told him, go ahead and be a trunk. So he negotiated to be a trunk. That's why that N is there. Whenever you guys get a chance, Google this right here. And so I'll show you guys. I might veer off just a little bit, but I want to show you guys this, right? What that means. So let me pull this up real quick. This is just from the Cisco Learning Network. You get a lot of information. Once you Google and stuff like that, you'll run into these forms right here. What does the N 802.1q mean under trunking? Right? I have a 3850 where I enabled trunk on port blah, blah, blah. This is exactly what we did, but we did it on switch 1 side, right? So we enabled this side as a trunk, but we didn't have to do it on that side. Why is that? It says here, it means it negotiated. The trunk encapsulation type was because it was not explicitly set in the config. If you actually put in switch port trunk encapsulation, which we didn't on the other side, that N will disappear. When using desirable to set trunks, it would negotiate on its own. So that's what happened there. That's why we didn't have to set this side as a trunk. But let's go ahead and do that anyway, right? And then you'll see. So right now, if you notice, switch 1 has no N there. It didn't negotiate. We hard-coded it as a trunk. We go on that side, right? We go to global config mode, interface GI 0/1, and say switch port mode trunk, right? But we can't do that, so we have to do it in 802.1q. So switch port trunk encapsulation 802.1q, well, .1q, and then switch port mode trunk, right? And then if we do a show interfaces trunk, you'll see it's disappeared. So it did not negotiate. Both sides are hard-coded as the trunk. Does that make sense, guys? The port in is by default in dynamic auto. That is correct, Danny. That is the reason why it negotiated. A lot of this work will just be repetitive. You'll kind of remember an accident in a lot of cases. That is correct, Brandon. That is exactly. You kind of just remember it because you've done it so many times, right? It's like, I don't know, like, it's like multiplication tables, right? The more you see it, you know 2 times 2 is 4 and 5 times 2 is 10 because the more you do it, the more repetitive it just starts to stick in your brain. So I didn't learn all this stuff overnight. The more I did it, the more it start, you start learning this stuff, What's going on, Habib? What is going on? Where you tuned in from? So that was part of task 3, right? The other part of task 3 says assign ports to depicted VLANs and configure switch 1 FA02 as a trunk. So they want this also right here as a trunk. That right there, that interface right there needs to be a trunk. And then they want us to put VLANs 10, 20, 30, and 40 in the sales, tech, admin, and test VLANs. So if y'all want to follow along, like I said, I can't, show you guys what's in the book or whatever, but if you have a copy of this book, you'll see the VLANs, or you can just follow along here. So we're going to go to global config mode on switch 1. Some of these troubleshooting you do appears in a CCNA exam. I can't say which one, NDA. That is correct. However, Safal, they don't have simlets anymore. Back in the day, you used to have to configure stuff like this, configure a trunk, connect switch A to B or whatever, and then run show commands. They don't have that no more. Now the CCNA exam is all multiple choice or multiple choice, multiple question, multiple answer. There's drag and drop. You see like examples if you go to CCNA's Cisco's website, and they show you example questions on what you can do. And like he said, it's an NDA. We can't tell you what exactly you'll run into, but the type of questions they'll tell you what you'll run into. Multiple choice, multiple answer, drag and drop, I believe like mix and match or whatever. Yeah, pretty much it. They don't have the simlets anymore like back in the day where you had to configure and stuff like that. I used to like those because it shows you are, at least hands on with it. So where were we at? We needed to configure the VLANs. VLAN 10, 20 and 30 and 40, right? So global config mode, he said VLAN 10. The name of that was the sales VLAN. VLAN 20, the name of that is the tech VLAN. VLAN 30 is the admin VLAN. And VLAN 40 is the test VLAN. Verify our work when we're done, right? Verify when we're done, verify it, and then when you're done with that, verify it again. So VLAN brief, y'all gonna hear me say that over and over. My boss be telling me that all the time. It get annoying, but now I see why he say that. So we need to put on switch 1. They said they wanted, I guess they wanted the top one to be in those VLANs, and then the bottom one to be switch 2. I guess that's what they wanted. Right? Yeah. Yeah, because FA03 is going to be in the tech VLAN. CCNP T-Shoot has simlets. One of the best exams I've ever taken. Not a lot of multiple choice. That is correct, Brendan. However, the T-Shoot exam is retired. They don't have that anymore. But yeah, I used to, I was going to take it. I only had like 1 week to take it, and I didn't even bother taking it because I didn't want to just cram to try to take that exam. But anyways, yeah, CCNP T-Shoot was just one big ass simlet, really. It's just like trouble tickets, and you had to try to figure out where it was broken in the network and answer the questions why. So they said they wanted FA03 in VLAN 20, right? So they want this interface right here in VLAN 20. So let's go ahead and do that, right? Global config mode, we say interface GI03. Now your interfaces might be different. The book has fast Ethernet ports. My switches have gigabit Ethernet ports, right? So we say switch port access VLAN, he said VLAN 20. And then we verify our work with show VLAN brief. Remember, when you verify it, or when you're done, verify it. And when you're done with that, verify it. And when you're done with that, verify it again. So GI03 is now in VLAN 20, right? And then they said, assign the ports of directly. Okay, so we needed to do VLAN 20 should have untagged Ethernet frames. Y'all know what that mean? I know what that mean. I just want to see if anybody else know what that mean. VLAN 20 needs to have untagged VLAN frames. Yes, precisely. It was like a mini CCIE with the tickets. Forgot all about that. Yeah, man. I used to like the concept of being able to look at this huge lab and try to break fix the damn thing. And it was like real life, because you had tickets coming in. You had to try to fix it. But I don't think they fixed it. You just had to answer the questions on the T-Shoot exam. I never took T-Shoot, but yeah, you just had to figure out what was wrong and then answer a multiple choice question. You didn't have to fix it per se. You just had to answer what would have been the fix and how to fix it, but you didn't have to fix it. Giga bougie ports. Oh, that was a good one. I like that. Giga bougie ports. Yeah, I am a little bougie, right? I ain't got no fast Ethernet ports, man. Step your game up. Danny, that's correct. Native VLAN. So that is correct. Danny got that correct. So what they said here, assign ports. I'm sorry. VLAN 20 should have untagged Ethernet frames. So they want VLAN 20 to be the native VLAN. So the native VLAN is the VLAN that's not going to be tagged. So basically, the switch that's going to be, or that guy is not going to be, is going to be connected to a port that does not have native VLANs, right? Yeah, no, because he's in VLAN 30. So my bad. We're just going to make VLAN 20 the native VLAN, which I believe is going to be that interface. So either way, so switch 1. But yeah, Danny's correct. Native VLAN is what they meant there. So, where was we at? So we said VLAN 20 should have untagged VLAN frames. The way we do that is switch port. Jesus, we need to go to a specific interface to do that, don't we? We need to go to the trunk port to do that. Global config mode. We are in the global config. What am I doing? GI0/1. We're gonna say switch port trunk native, and we're gonna run out. We're gonna run into an error on the other side too. Remember that on 802.1q trunks, only the native VLAN is untagged. So we need the FA02 to be a trunk. Let's do that first. Where's that at? FA02. So in this case, that guy right there, not FA02, but in this case, GI02. So that also needs to be a trunk. This is a trunk. That's also a trunk, right? So we need to make sure that native VLAN, this has native VLAN 20, and that also has native VLAN 20. So when we're passing frames in the native VLAN 20, we need to make sure that they're not tagged. And the way we do that is with the switch port, I think it's trunk, or switch port, native VLAN 20, or whatever. So let's go ahead and do that, right? So interface, I'm in trunk GI01. I meant GI02 for now. Switch port. We need to make him an 802.1q trunk as well, right? Switch one, FA02 is a trunk. So switch port mode trunk. We need to do switch port trunk encapsulation .1q, and then say switch port trunk, switch port mode trunk, and then we're gonna say switch port trunk native, yeah, VLAN 20, and that's how you set the native VLAN. So basically, anything that's gonna be a VLAN 20, or anything that has any frames that has VLAN 20 tag, it's just not gonna be tagged. That's destined for that VLAN. And the way we do that is that. And then we got to do the same thing. So we did it on this interface. We need to do it on that interface, gig 01, on my giga bougie ports that, like Easy said. I remember you used to do CCNP stuff on your channel. Yes, I did, Brian. I did do CCNP stuff. That was about, I want to say about a year ago, when I was actually studying for the CCNP exams. When I started this channel, I was studying for the CCNP route exam. And I did a lot of my, you can go back on my channel, you'll see a lot of CCNP topics. It's just that I wanted to go back to the basics, and I wanted to cover every little hole, nook and cranny, and become like kind of like a CCNA master before I go back and start doing the CCNA stuff. Plus, they have a CCNP level book like this. So yeah, I wanted to master this and these topics before going back. And like I was saying earlier, I took route, I took switch, and I feel like I took route like 3 times before I passed it, twice before I passed it. And then I didn't have to take time to take T-shoot. So I felt like, let me go back and just cover every little nook and cranny so I know, you know, about this stuff like the back of my hand before moving back onto the CCNP. But yes, I did do CCNP stuff on my channel at first. So we need to make the native VLAN on this guy, VLAN 20 again. So GI01, right? So GI0/1, switch port, trunk, native VLAN 20. Y'all with me so far? We might have a, yeah, so we're blocking here, right? Because we have a native VLAN mismatch here, right? So we have, you see this, how it blocked? So this port is probably gonna be shut down, right? So we do show interfaces trunk. That's the error we're getting right there, native VLAN mismatch. So the native VLAN on this guy is 20, whereas this one by default, do you guys know what it is? You'll be a CCNA one day. Man, I appreciate that, Brian. Thank you for the positive words there. So it's native, the native VLAN is VLAN 1, right? And that's why we're getting an error here. So that is being blocked by spanning tree, basically. And that's why we're getting this level 2 error right here. We could have potentially caused a loop. And by default, spanning tree blocks that from happening because we have a native VLAN mismatch there. So we can verify that with show interfaces trunk. We're probably not trunking anymore, right? We are, but we're blocking that specific VLAN. But notice we have native VLAN 1 there, and on that side, if we do a show interfaces trunk, come on, man, show interfaces trunk, we have a native VLAN 20. So that's why we're getting that error there, and that's why it says native VLAN mismatch. So we got a VLAN 20 native here and VLAN 1 native there. So we need to fix that, right? So we go to switch 2 and go to on our switch 2's interface, which is gig 01. So go to gig 01. My giga bougie ports, as this guy would say, Easy would say over there, 0/1, and say switch port, what we said, trunk, native VLAN 20, and that should unblock the port. We'll see if it's coming. It's going to send another CDP message. Every minute we should get that message. That's where we're getting that error. Let's wait for a little bit. Wait for it. Wait for it. And there it goes. See, it's unblocking now. It's because now both and it says right here, port consistency restored. Y'all see that? So the reason why it was blocking the other side, we could have potentially caused a loop. So it blocked it for us. And then once we made sure that the native VLANs match, then it starts passing those native VLAN frames there. So we configured this as a trunk. We've configured that as a trunk, and their native VLAN both is 20. Right? Let's verify our work with show interfaces trunk. We can see native VLAN 20 right there. We're allowing those VLANs to pass. We need to do the VLANs on this guy, switch 2. We didn't do that yet, right? We did the VLANs on that guy, but we didn't put the VLANs on this guy, right? He has 10 through 40 as well, but I think they're different on the other switch. No, the names are going to be the same, but the ports are going to be different. So hopefully you guys got this book and you can follow along. So, or you can just follow on by watching. So we're going to say, we're going to create our VLANs here on this switch 2, right? We did the VLANs on this guy. We're going to do the VLANs on this switch now, right? 10, 20, 30, and 40, right? So VLAN 10, his name was the sales VLAN. VLAN 20 is the, any questions so far or anything like that? I haven't lost any of you guys yet, right? VLAN 30, we needed to name VLAN 20 first. VLAN 20 is the tech VLAN. VLAN 30 is the admin VLAN, and VLAN 40 is the test VLAN, right? We do our verify our work, show VLAN brief. We got 10 in sales, 20 in tech, 30 in admin. Notice 40 didn't show up yet, right? You know why? Because we got to exit out of that VLAN mode. And then if we do a show VLAN brief, now it's created. See that? VLAN 40 test. They wanted us to put FA02. So this one is going to be in VLAN 30. And then that one is going to be in VLAN 40. Right? I'm going to say it again. That's going to be in VLAN 30. And that port's going to be in VLAN 40. Y'all with me so far? So we're going to put in interface GI0/2. And we say switch port access VLAN 30. And then interface GI0/3. Switch port access VLAN we say at 40. Right? When you're done, verify your work, show VLAN brief, and when you're done with that, verify it again. So we got 30 in VLAN, we got gig 02 in VLAN 30 and gig 03 in VLAN 40. Y'all with me so far? You guys any questions or anything like that? I'm not throwing anybody off or anything. I'm not losing anybody. Remember, there's no such thing as a dumb question. We got a lot of smart people in this room. If you guys have a simple question, you know, ask away, man, because like I said, it's gonna get harder and harder than this. This book labels this lab as a 9 out of 10 on the rating scale for CCNA level. So, you know, it could be a little, maybe it's a little difficult for some of you guys. Don't be afraid to ask any questions or anything like that. So, what else we have here? Only the native VLAN is untagged. So we did that. Okay, so I guess we're done with task 3 here. Let's go ahead and save our work. Do right. And do the same thing on that guy. Do right in case my computer decides to take a dump. Right. And then, let's see. Task 4. Configure IP addresses on router 2, router 3, and router 4 as illustrated in the diagram, right? So that you guys can see, right? So router 2, they want those interfaces. They want those interfaces as labeled in the topology. So FA02 is going to have that IP address, or 00 on that router going to have that interface address. That interface is going to have that IP address, so on and so forth, right? This guy is going to have that IP address. So let's go ahead and do that. You guys with me so far? Anybody lost or? Hey, bro, do you use CLI at work or web controllers? Web/controllers. I use CLI at work, my friend. CLI. When I am consoling into a switch, I mean, We do some GUI for, you know, like, I guess we have some firewalls that, you know, uses GUI. We have, what else do we have? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, we have, like, you know, like the wireless controllers, some of those other devices. But for 9 times out of 10, if we're going to console into a switch, we'll use the CLI, the routers, etc. So we use CLI at work, at my job. So router 2, we're going to go to that interface, FA00, right? So interface FA0/0. We're going to say interface or IP address is 10.0. That's a fat finger right there. Y'all see that mistake right there? That's an octet that I was missing right there. You see that? Fat finger squad in the building. Y'all know we can't make any mistakes here or else it's going to throw us off. So 10.0.20.2. Right? So 10.0.20.2. Subnet mask is /25. Anybody know off the top of your head what is that? /25 is CIDR notation. What is it in the regular subnet mask, right? 255.255. Anybody know? I'll give you guys a couple seconds. I'll give you 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The last octet should be 128, right? /25. Correct me if I'm wrong. It should be /.128. No shut that interface, right? Because these interfaces are by default shut down, right? So no shut. And then it came up. Let's do a show IP interface brief to verify our work. And he's up 10.20, 10.0.20.22. Pete said 128, S-Move said 128, Danny said 128. Y'all know what? I'm going to give y'all credit because there is a little lag when I'm streaming. So, yes, you guys are all correct. It's 128. So, we got to do this one is router 3. No, let's do router 4. No, let's do router 3. He's the next one. So, let's do router 3. His interface is 10.0.30.3/29, right? So, we're going to go to global config mode, interface FA00. And there you go, easy. I don't have any giga bougie ports on these interfaces right here. I got some fast Ethernet ports on my routers here. So IP address 10.0.30.3 and the CIDR notation is /29. So it's 255.255.255. It's not 248, but 240 or 248. Yeah, it should be 248 because /28 should be 240. So 248, right? Am I correct in saying that, guys? Right there? So for router 3, this right here, /29 should be 255.248. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So no shut. And verify our work. Show IP interface brief. Exclude unassigned. And always all caps. So unassigned. UNES. Bruh, no bougie? Nah, not on my routers, man. I got some fast Ethernet ports there, man. So, so the /29 is .248, right? Am I correct in saying that? So we're gonna go to router 4. Y'all with me so far? Okay, Pete said I'm correct, so good. Router 4 is interface G or FA. See, I'm so used to my giga bougie ports over there. 0/0. IP address is 10.0.40.4. Subnet mask /27, so 255.255.255. That last octet is the unique one, right? So we know 25 is 128, 26 is 192, and 27 should be 224. Is that correct? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. 224? No shut. Am I correct in saying that as well? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Remember, I don't know everything. I like you guys helping me out. We got the Fat Finger Squad in the building. Y'all see I already done Fat Finger the labels right here. So in case anybody's throwing off, remember this is 10.0.20.2/25. So I think we got all the IP addressing correct here. Took us damn near an hour into the lab here. And this is why once it gets a little bigger than this, man, listen. I should try to get the IP addressing done before you guys get on. But, you know, just in case nobody doesn't really know how to configure IP addresses and create VLANs and stuff like that. Now you guys know how to do it if you're following along. What models are these routers, by the way? I believe these are 7200s. We can verify that with show version. Good question, Paul, or Pete rather. This is the, there you go, 7206 model. VXR. So I do have some hardware though. One day I'm gonna get, I have an access server. I just haven't set it up yet. I want to get my actual hardware going and start labbing that up with you guys. I got like 6 routers here. I got 2 wireless controllers, a bunch of stuff that I got on eBay. I just started buying shit, man. I don't know why, like just old stuff, man. And you can virtualize all of it, but y'all know how GNS3 don't like me. So, task 4, I guess we're done with task 4 then, right? We did router 2, we did router 3, and router 4. They're already labeled host names. They already have their IP address thing. So we're on task 5 out of 6, and we'll be out of here. Configure sub interfaces off router 1. So these guys right here. Notice these guys look funkier, right? They don't look like just regular interfaces. These are sub interfaces. So they're virtual interfaces that are hanging off of a physical interface. So these are virtual interfaces that are going to be tied to that physical interface FA00, right? So we need to create the sub interfaces. Task 5 says configure sub interfaces off router 1, FA00, in the corresponding VLANs in the diagram. Also configure interface VLAN 10 on switch 2, which was this guy right there, with the IP address 10.0.10.2/28. So I believe he's gonna have interface VLAN. So we're gonna have an SVI on switch 2. And then test network connectivity. This may or may not work because GNS3, I said, y'all, I've been telling y'all, GNS3 be acting funky with me. Y'all remember that lab? I don't remember how many labs ago that it did not work. Last lab, it wasn't working because I didn't fully understand how disabled recovery worked. And then once we started playing around with it, y'all know I like to blame it on the bug. Blame it on the bug when things don't work. But hopefully DNS3 decides to play with us today. So we're going to configure the sub interfaces, right? So we're going to go global config mode. First of all, we're going to create the sub interfaces, right? We need to turn up the physical interface first. They're all going to be tied to FA00, right? By default, remember I said by default with routers, the interfaces are shut down when they're out the box, right? So we do show IP interface brief, and you'll see, so we exclude undersigned. Let's just bring them all up, right? Right there. They're admin down, right? So we needed FA00. It's actually up right now. And we gave him an IP address. I thought we was going to tie him to that. So confused there. Interesting. 10.0.40.4. Oh, because I'm in router 4. That's why. See? Fat Finger Squad. We need to go to router 1 to do that. That's what I meant to do. So show IP interface brief. There we go. We didn't have any. I was just like, I don't remember doing any work on this guy. So I was, just in case you guys didn't know, I was into this router. We needed to get into that router to do the sub interfaces. Y'all with me so far? I find GNS3 a big pain. Dude, you don't understand. If you haven't been in these last live streams, GNS3 has been acting, it's just been playing jokes on me, man. But it's all good, Pete. We're going to try to get this going. Get you an APC master switch off eBay as well, or a way to power up and down your switches and routers via Telnet. Yes, I heard about that too. So that way I can remotely do that, and then I can remote in from work on my lab. But I don't want to keep all of this stuff powered on at all. So I have just everything connected to like a UPS. I got to connect it to one power strip, and I can just shut them all off here. I'm not gonna. And this is actually in my bedroom, believe it or not. I have a rack in my bedroom. Bachelor life, right? So it's all good though. That is router. Yes, that's router 4. So that was the problem. Thanks for pointing that out, Pete. So router 1, we need to create some sub interfaces, right? So global config mode interface. So we're going to create these sub interfaces right here: 0.10, 0.20, 0.30, and 0.40. And we need to put them in each respective VLAN. So 0.10 is going to be in VLAN 10, 20 is in VLAN 20, so on and so forth, right? So we go to interface FA0.0 and then, or 0/0 dot, and then you put in .10. So like, watch, if I just put a question mark there and put a dot, now it's asking us for the for the interface number. So in this case, we're gonna do 10, right? And once we're done with that, that's the sub interface. Notice we're in sub interface configuration mode. So this is not the same thing as a physical interface. This is a sub interface. It's like a virtual interface, right? So from here, we're going to give him the IP address of 10.0.0. So basically, he's going to be the VLAN, the gateway for VLAN 10 is basically what it is. So we'll say IP address 10.0.0.1. The subnet mask is /28. So 255.255.255.240. Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. Right? And notice here, look at this error right here. Configuring IP routing on a LAN subinterface is only allowed if that subinterface is already part of a blah, 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 blah. So basically, we need to make this the physical interface to allow .1Q frames across it. The way we do that is switch port. No, I think we got to go to the physical interface to do that. So we got to get out of this and say interface FA00. Is it switch? Jeez, what is it? I forgot what that command is. No, encapsulation. No, we got to go to the sub interface to do that. So interface FA0/0.10. Oh, Jesus. And say switch. No, encapsulation. And then that's how we can do either .1Q encapsulation or ISL encapsulation. ISL was a Cisco supported one back in the day, but now, and .1Q is an open standard one, so you can use that on pretty much any switch that's besides Cisco, like any Cisco switch or Arista or whatever. And that is basically like a vendor neutral standard. So we do .1Q like that, and then we put the VLAN ID. So we do that with 10. And then we say, oh, we got it. Now we could do the routing. So we say IP address. Where is that IP address that I typed in last time? Right there. 10.0.0.1, right? This interface right here. Y'all with me? So that interface is what we're doing. So remember last time we tried to do that, it said you can't do that because configuring IP routing on a LAN sub interface is only allowed if that sub interface is already part of a .1Q. So we had to basically allow 802.1Q frames across it. And the way we did that was with the encapsulation .1Q, and then we put the VLAN number, so VLAN 10. Now theoretically we should be able to put the IP address in there. It took it that time. Eric Forgy just got a CCNA. Shout out to Eric for getting his CCNA today. Your videos were super helpful. Thanks for posting videos that are complex but easy to understand at the same time. Man, I appreciate that, Eric, man. I mean, shout out to all the YouTubers and people that do channels like me and stuff like that. But it's just something that I just try to make it sound as simple as possible, man. Just to make it like it can be confusing and stuff like that, but I don't know, man. It's just sometimes I can't even explain it. But shout out to Eric for passing the CCNA, and he got it today, man. I'm glad that my videos help. And yeah, shout out to you, man. What's your next move, man? Are you gonna what are you gonna work on next? Interface, encapsulation, IP. That's a good way to remember it, Danny. You do the interface, do the encapsulation, and then you put the IP address. That's a good way to remember all of that. So now we can do the next sub interface, right? So I'm gonna get out of this, right, and do interface FA0/0.20, right? And now we got to do encapsulation .1Q and then 20, right? Y'all with me so far? So for the VLAN 20 sub interface, we do FA00.20, right? And then we to tag its frames, we do .1Q20, just like that, right there, right? And then we do the IP address. So in this case, the IP address is 10.0.20.1/25 subnet mask, right? Y'all know what that is? What's the /25 subnet mask? Who can get that one? I already know the top off my head, but I want to see if somebody else can get it. Any of the newbies in here. So IP address 10.0.20.1 subnet mask 255.255. What's the last octet? Anybody? Anybody scream. We only got 2 more tasks, you guys. 2 more tasks, and we're out of here. 2 more tasks, and we are out of here. That last octet for /25 is 128. We did that with this guy right here, too. Remember? Y'all remember that? So basically, these guys are going to be gateways for that guy, and that guy. And that's how they'll be able to communicate, because they'll have to get to their gateway. Right, and then all the trunks. I mean, all this trunk right here is going to be able to pass all those VLANs, and so will this guy. That make any sense, you guys? So .128, and then we got to do the same thing on FA0, 30, and 40, right? So let me just move on so that way, let me stop quizzing you guys. So interface FA00 dot 30, encapsulation .1Q 30, right? And the IP address is 10.0.128 if nobody wants to pop up. Yeah, shout out to Pete for answering, man. Nobody didn't want to answer, man. But 10.0.30.1 subnet mask of 255.255.255 /29 subnet mask should be 248, right? We don't need to no shut these, right? By default, their up-down status is reliant on the physical interface. So since this is FA00, all of these guys are FA00, right? Y'all see that? They're tied to the physical interface of FA00. So that guy needs to be up for the other sub-interfaces to be up. And you can see that with what? Let's verify our work so far. We didn't do 40 yet, right? So do show IP interface brief. And you'll see we did these sub-interfaces, right? But notice they're all admin down, right? We still got to do one more sub-interface, the VLAN 40 sub-interface, right? So let's go ahead and do that, right? So interface FA00.40, right? We say IP address 10.0.40.1. Oh no, we can't do the subnet being the IP address yet, right? Because if we do that, right, what's gonna happen? We're gonna get that error again, right? So IP address, for anybody that just logged on late or just came in late, I'll show you guys what happens in case you didn't see that, right? So .255.255.0 was not .0, it's gonna be .2, what is it, /27? So so it's 128, 192, and then 224, right? Am I correct in saying that? 224? Yeah, 224 is the subnet mask. And we get that error if we don't allow him to be a part of 802.1Q or ISL VLAN. So we're going to make him an 802.1Q with encapsulation.1Q and then put the VLAN ID, right? The question mark is asking us for the VLAN ID. So in this case, it's 40. And now we should be able to put that IP address without getting that error. Y'all see that so far? Are the subnet masks for these sub-interfaces the same mask as their respective VLAN? Let's see. Good question. Good question. Yes, they are. Because if you notice, that's a really good question, Pete. If you notice, this guy right here is the VLAN 20. And they aptly named these IP addresses, right? So he's in VLAN 20, right? Router 2 is going to be in VLAN 20, right? Y'all see that, right? We can tell with this .20.2, right? His subnet mask is /25. If you notice, his gateway is going to be on router 1, this sub interface right here, 20/25. So yes, his subnet mask. We go to the .31, which is this guy right here. His sub interface or his subnet mask is /20, right? So when he needs to go to his gateway, which should be 30.1, right? So his gateway, he's going to come across the trunk, go to the gateway, and his gateway is 30.1/29. So yes, his subnet mask. And lastly, router 4, he is in a .40, which is basically VLAN 40 subnet, and he's a /27 subnet mask. So his gateway is going to be 40. Right? He's 40.4. So his gateway should be 40.4 or 40.1 rather, and his subnet mask matches as well, /27. You could fudge it up, I believe, if your subnet masks don't match, because it's going to be like they might be outside of the interface or outside of the subnet. So it's good practice to make sure that the subnet masks match. That is a really good question, Pete. But the way they designed it is so that way they're in the same subnet and each respective router can talk to its gateway. And all the gateways, these subnets or sub interfaces are going to be gateways for each router, if that make any sense. They just basically making these routers as kind of like computers or end hosts. That make any sense? Otherwise, what's the point of a sub interface needing a specific mask? But yeah, I hope that answers your question, Pete. But that is a really good question. I like that one. And that's the reason why I like labbing with you guys, man. You ask questions that kind of make me think out the box and kind of look at it and be like, that is a good question. Let me figure that out. And we see all of their gateways are on router 1. And that's how they're going to be able to communicate with one another, because This is a trunk. So like if router 4 wants to communicate with router 3, he go to his gateway, which should be 40.1, right? And then he should theoretically, since he got all the gateways, he'll go to 40.1, and then he'll come back out of this VLAN to basically 30.1, right, to 30, and then he'll be able to come across this trunk, since that allows all VLANs, this trunk, since it allows all VLANs, and go to VLAN 30. That make any sense? Thanks for explaining. I didn't realize the sub interface is the gateway too. Yes, man, that's how they're basically gateways for all of those guys. That's why they made them .1. Well, at least that's how they designed it. A good network engineer is going to make your gateway .1. So, I think that was it for task 5, right? Oh, last thing for task 5. Configure interface VLAN 1 on switch 2. So let's go to switch 2 so that way I won't fuck anything up. Pardon my language. We got a duplex mismatch here, guys. We got another error we need to fix here. So, where are we getting this duplex mismatch? Discovered on gig 02, which is that right there, with router 3 and router 4. So basically, we got a duplex mismatch here and a duplex mismatch there. I'll explain this real quick. Notice these errors keep popping up. This router is just, this switch is just screaming at me right now, like, hey, we got some duplex mismatches here. So switch 2 said he got a duplex mismatch there. So if we read this error right here, it says duplex mismatch discovered on gig 02, right? Where's gig 02? Right there, right? No half duplex, not half duplex. So gig 02 is not half duplex. What is it? It's full duplex, right? With router 3's FA00. Where's router 3's FA0? So that right there, which is half duplex. So that's the problem here. Basically, this is in full duplex, and that is in half duplex. Since we have this mismatch there, that's why it's throwing this error. And since it's CDP sends messages every 60 seconds. Remember that in the CDP video that we did about 2 videos back? It sends every 60 seconds. So this error is going to keep shooting at us every 60 seconds until we fix that problem. And we can figure that. See, there goes another minute, and there goes that error right there. So we got that error here. So that's full, half duplex, full duplex, half duplex. So we need to make sure that they all match. We verify that with, if we check, let's look at gig 02, right? So just to show you guys, right? Show interface GI 0/2, and we'll see he is in, I'm gonna go up right here. He's in auto duplex, right? But typically it's gonna like negotiate as full. You would think because it's in auto, the other one's in half, then let's go ahead and operate a half duplex. But no, it don't work that way. It's in auto, so it's kind of like full in a way. I don't know if I explained that right. Somebody chime in and explain that correctly. But right now it's in auto. It's auto negotiating, whereas router 3 is in half duplex, and we can verify that with. We'll go to router 3 and show interface FA 0/0, and you'll see right there he is in half duplex. That's his problem, right? So we do a show run interface. We can do that with show run interface, right? FA 0/0. He's in half duplex. If we get rid of that or do it in so interface FA00 and say duplex full, that should resolve that problem on that one. And we're gonna do the same thing on router 4, right? And go to router 4, and then we're in global configure. So we're gonna say FA00. Let me see what he said. It is more correct to say that the core switches there are the actual gateways. Yeah, you're right. But the problem is these guys aren't really, there's no IP addressing on there though. So he's going to have a gateway though. Switch 2 is going to have an interface VLAN, and switch 1 don't even have any kind of IP addressing on here, right? So we got some more errors on this guy too, right? We got to fix him we got to fix that problem on that side too. But let me go ahead and fix this guy before I answer that question. So router 4, FA00 needs to be in duplex full, and then router 2, same thing, I believe, right? Right, because he's throwing that error too. Yes, he's throwing that error too. So we got to fix that problem over here. See? So duplex mismatch on gig 03, which is right there. That's an auto. It's not half duplex. With router 2's FA00, which is that right there, which is set to half duplex. So we need to set that to half duplex. So we go to router 2, right? Go to global config mode. Actually, we can verify that with show run interface FA00. And we see it's in half duplex, right? So we go to global config mode, interface FA00, and we say duplex full, right? And that should fix that problem. We go to switch 1. But let's go back to what Brandon was saying. Brandon was saying, Danny, I don't believe you'd be able to configure 802.1q on the end hosts. Well, technically, given the right drivers, you could, but generally speaking, no. Yes. I mean, router 2, router 3, and router 4. So, Danny, it makes sense. But why didn't they use end hosts? Yes, exactly. Exactly what Brandon said. Because you can't do any kind of trunking. And, yeah, it would be tougher to do it that way. So, it's better to just have these, these routers and stuff like that. So, but yeah, you could technically do that too. Okay, I thought switch 1 and switch 2 had SVIs enabled. Switch 2 is gonna have an SVI with my Mariah Carey high-pitched voice. Switch 2 is gonna have interface VLAN 20. So that's why, yeah, that was a good question though. You would think that would be the correct way to say that he is the gateway. So because task 5 called for switch 2 to have the IP address 10.0.10.2. So I'm going to go to switch 2 real quick and configure that so we can move on. Oh, he's still throwing an error. Is he still throwing an error? Or is he done? You finished or you done? I ain't going to say no more. Y'all tell me where that's from. That's a reference for any of you guys. Any Breakfast Club fans over there. Okay, I thought switch 1 and switch 2 had SVIs enabled. Yeah, switch 2 is going to have an SVI enabled. So we go to switch 1. Oh, see, he's still throwing that error right there. Let's see, gig 03 is not half duplex. Or is he still throwing that error? Is he still throwing that error? I thought we fixed router 2. He's duplex full, right? FA00. So let's see. I don't think he's throwing that error anymore, right? Switch 2. Is he throwing that error anymore? I don't think he's throwing that error anymore either. Anyways, while they figure out whether they're going to throw errors or not, let's answer his question about the show IP interface brief. And let's exclude unassigned. See, switch 1 and switch 2 don't have any kind of SVIs or anything. So switch show IP interface brief, exclude unassigned. Yeah, so that's why I said router 1 is going to have all the gateways, Brandon. But yes, you're right. You would think that the core switches are the actual gateways. Yes, that is correct. But switch 2 is going to have one. So let's go ahead and do that. He is going to be global config mode, interface, they said VLAN 20. No, I'm sorry. Interface VLAN 10. Fat Finger Squad in the building. IP address 10.0.10.2. And he said /28 subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.240. And did we have a VLAN 10 on this guy? We did have a VLAN 10. Now this is what's throwing me off. I'm not sure why. Copy that, bro. Thanks. Yeah, no doubt, man. So do we need to no shut him or something? No. Let's do this. Show IP interface brief. Exclude unassigned. Oh, now he's up. There you go. So now switch 2 has an SVI, Brandon. So now switch 2 has an SVI. So you would think, who would he be the gateway for? I believe because it's .10, it's the same network as nobody. None of these are .10. So trying to figure out the purpose of why they put VLAN interface VLAN 10 on that guy. But either way, he's up, and that's what they asked us for to do. If anybody wants to answer that. But anyways, task 6 says to test network connectivity. And that was it. And we can wrap this up, right? So let's see. He said, try pinging router 1 to router 2, 3, and 4. So from router 1, we should be able to ping router 2. And then from router 1, we should be able to ping router 3 And then from router 1, we should be able to ping router 3, and then we should be able to ping router 4. So from router 1, we should be able to ping router 2, router 3, router 3, and router 4. That make any sense, guys? Right? So from router 1 to router 2, router 1 to router 3, and then from router 1 to router 4. We should be able to, we'll pray to network gods, hope that GNS3 plays nicely with us, go to router 1, and you know what? Let's verify our work. When you're done verifying it, verify it again. And after you verify it again. Show IP interface brief. And this is the reason why we wouldn't have been able to ping anything, right? Watch this. Exclude unassigned. Notice everything is admin down. And this is why. Y'all see how I was getting ready to ping, right? And be like, why is anything working here? I remembered, okay, you know what? I forgot to bring these guys up. These guys are all admin down, right? So when you bring up a sub interface, the physical interface that it's tied to, which in this case is FA00, right? FA00, FA00. They're all tied to the physical interface of FA00. That needs to be up for these sub interfaces to come up, right? And by default, the physical interfaces are down on the router. So we need to go to, and we can see that with not even, let's just show a pre-interface brief everything, right? 00 is unassigned and it's admin down, right? So everything is down on here. And this is why we need to verify. This is why we need to verify. Bars. Configure terminal interface FA00. And we say no shut. And it should bring up a whole slew of interfaces here. Management purposes. That's correct. Get duck out of here before end of this one. Thanks for the lesson from Sydney, bro. So you out of here? Okay, man. Appreciate that, Pete. I guess you out of here. But anyways, FA00 is up. So now let's check out the rest of these sub interfaces. We'll show IP interface brief, exclude unassigned, and now everything is up. Y'all see that now? So theoretically, we should be able to ping router 2, which in this case was 10.0.20.2. And it's waiting. You know what we should do is try to get some bi-directional. Let's go ahead and put some ARPs in here and see if we can get them going too. See, we got a failure here. So we already got to do some troubleshooting, guys. Verify. So let's go to router 2 and see if, let's just see what we got so far. Show IP interface brief, right? Exclude unassigned. He is 20.2. Right? Can he ping 20.1, which is his gateway, right? So in this case, ping 20.0.20.1. And he cannot, right? Even though it's up. And FA00 is up, right? So FA00 is up there. Yes, he is. So he can't ping. So let's see if switch or router 3 can do that. Can he ping 10.0.30.1? Ping 10.0.30.1. Nobody can ping anybody. Oh, we got him. So router 3 was able to ping router 1. So then let's see if router 1 can ping router 3, which I'm pretty sure he can. So let's ping 10.0.30.3. So 10.0.30.3. So that works. So we were able to ping router 1 to router 3. That worked. Can we ping router 4? Router 4 should be 10.0.40.4, right? So same thing, but 40.4. And he's able to ping. So we got him working, right? And we should be able to do the same thing from router 4. Y'all with me so far, right? So basically router 1 can ping router 3, right? We got bidirectional connectivity like this. Y'all see that? We got bidirectional connectivity from router 1 through router 4 like this, right? And let's verify from router 4. Let's triple check that though. Ping. He should be able to ping 10.0.40.1. 40.1. What am I doing here? So yeah. So router 4 is able to ping router 1. Y'all with me so far? Later, Pete. And now we was not able to, this is what we were not able to do. Router 1 to router 2. That's what we need to fix. Right? So we got a little bit of troubleshooting here. So router 1 to router 2. So first of all, can router 2 ping router 1? He couldn't, right? He was supposed to be able to ping 10.0.20.1. right? So wake up, wake up, wake up. Where's that movie? What movie is that from, y'all? So we only got one more router to fix here. So basically router 1 can't ping router 2 and router 2 can't ping router 1. So first of all, let's do this. Let's check our subnet masks, right? It should be /25, which is what? .128, right? So let's show interface FA00. So his interface is 10.0.20.2. That's correct. /25. So that is correct. Let's see. /25. Yes, that is correct. And it is up. What else do we need to do? We need to make sure GI03 was in VLAN 20, right? So let's go to switch 1. Oh, there's no problem. We're still getting this error right here. So gig 02 is not in half duplex with router 1's gig 00. Router 1's 00, FA00. So that needs to be in full duplex. We need to fix that on router 1. So let's go to router 1. Global config. So why was he able to communicate with the other guys though? So that's what's weird. Let's test that again. But let's fix this problem first. Interface FA00. Let's do a show run interface FA00, and we'll see he's also in full duplex mode. I mean half duplex. So we need to do duplex, full, and now that should get rid of that problem on switch 1. All right? Y'all with me so far? Dang, I'm slow. Oh, router 1 is the gateway in this exercise. Got it. That's correct, Brandon. No, you're not slow, man. Sometimes, you know, if you don't have this book, this is why I really suggest getting this book. If you guys don't know, copy this book, 101 Labs, Cisco CCNA version 4. Get a copy of this book from 101labs.net. Authored by Paul Browning and Farai Tafah. You can also get a copy of this book from the link in the description box below, so that way it makes it easier for you guys to follow. Brendan, you probably just confused because, like I said, you don't have this book and you didn't realize, like I said, the gateways are all lie on router 1. So that's the reason why, you know, don't feel you're not slow. It's just like I said, if you don't have a copy of this book, you're not able. It's not as easy to follow along. So no worries there, man. And I believe we stopped that error this time. So this was the problem. We had full duplex on this side of the link, and we had a half duplex on this side of the link. So it kept throwing up at us right here. And it kept saying CDP, duplex mismatch. We got a duplex mismatch discovered on gig 02, not half duplex with router 1's FA00, which was that interface right there. And we fixed that problem. And so now router 1, can router 1 ping router 2 if that fixes that problem? If not, we have some more troubleshooting to do. Or we could just check routing as well. Show IP route. And we have some directly connected networks. 10.0.20 network. Yes, /25 is directly connected. Does router 2 have a route? He should theoretically have a route to get there. Show IP route. And he does. So can he ping? Can router 2 ping router 1, which should be his gateway, 10.0.20.1, right? Y'all with me so far? So ping 20.0.20.1. And nope, that does not look like it. So looks like we got some more troubleshooting to do. He's directly connected. What else do we have here? What other problem do we have here? Router 2 cannot ping router 1. Let's triple check our work with router 1 again. If he can ping the other guys again. He can still ping router 3, right? Which is ping 10.0.30.3. He can ping that. So router 1 can ping router 3, right? Y'all see that? So now we need to make router 1 ping router 4, which was 10.40.4. That worked. We need to make sure router 1 pings router 2. And I'm hoping this is not a GNS3 bug because it says he's directly connected to that network. So that don't make no damn sense. So show IP route. He has a route to the 10.0.20 network. He's directly connected via FA020, which is that right there. That sub interface right there. And router 2 can also see that network, 10.0.20. He's directly connected via FA00. Gateway last resort is not set. He don't need to. What about router 3? What about router 3? Let's see what do their router tables look like. Show IP route. It's not set, right? And this is how it looks like. So they have directly connected networks to there, but router 2 does not. What seems to be the issue there? My money is on layer 2. Okay, let's see. Definitely confused, but glad to see they did it that way. Router 1 as the gateway. Yes, yes. My money is on layer 2. On switch 1 or router 2. So, let's see. So, you're saying there's a problem on either of these two devices, right? So, let's go back to switch 1 and see what his issue is. You might be right. Let's see. What did they say? Gig 03 or FA03 needs to be in the, let's see here. FA03 needs to be in VLAN 40 subnet? No, he don't. You know what? FA03 needs to be VLAN 40 subnet, but that don't make no sense. You know what? I think FA03 needs to be in the VLAN 20 subnet, and it probably is not. I think that's the issue there. Let me make sure, because they did not really they did not say which of these. Okay, so this is the switch 1 VLANs, and that's the switch 2 VLANs. Yes, they did. So FA03 needs to be in VLAN 20. So I see how they did it. The top one, if you guys have this book, the top VLANs in that top topology needs to be on switch 1, and in the bottom VLANs, that the chart that has the VLANs at the bottom is in switch 2, right? VLAN 20, I believe, needs to be verified as extended between routers 1, switch 2, and router 2. Correct, Brandon. That is correct. So we need to make sure switch 1 has that interface as VLAN 40, right? I mean VLAN 20. So yes, I see what you're saying. That's correct. Exactly. Router 1, switch 1, router 2. Y'all listen to Brandon. That's my man right there. So watch. Let's see. Show VLAN brief. Is Gig 03 in VLAN 20? He is. Right? Switch 1, Gig 03 is in VLAN 20. So that didn't seem to be a problem. What else did we need to see here? And it is in the tech VLAN. So that is correct. We need to make sure show interfaces trunk. Come on, man. Show interfaces trunk. We almost done here, you guys. We almost done here. So VLAN 20 is allowed across that trunk, which was Gig 01. And 2. Yep, so VLAN 20 is allowed across that trunk. We needed to make sure that, okay, so the native VLAN is VLAN 20. Now, did they say, what was the last task? They said test connectivity from router 1 to router 2, 3, and 4. We got 3 and 4. We just can't get router 1 to router 2 to work. What else is in VLAN 20? VLAN 20. What else is in VLAN 20? They said it's the native VLAN. That was pretty much it. That's all they asked for to be in VLAN 20. That interface right there. And then they didn't say to create no switch 2 has an interface VLAN 10. They didn't say to create no SVI on VLAN. Let me see if I missed anything here. FA02 is a trunk, or GI02 is a trunk in this case. They didn't say anything about VLAN 20. Remember the 802.1q trunks? Only the native VLAN is untagged. So let's make sure, yeah, the native VLAN is untagged, is VLAN 20 on both of them. Yes, both of them. I said BOFFUM. Okay, I got you. I see the trunks. Yeah, so show interfaces trunk is one way to verify that, right? Y'all with me so far? We need to get let's see. Router 1's sub interface. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the sub interface on router 1. Show interface FA0.0.20. I'm sorry, not on switch 1. We need to do that on router 1. Boop. And there he is. He's up. IP address is 10.0.20.1/25. So that is correct. But why can't he ping? Unless there's something wrong with it. And y'all see I didn't make any changes. And if the switch decides to wake up and finally, or if the router decides to wake, you know what? Let's do this. I've seen this problem before where the switch had to ping it and do it. So let's see if he can ping 10.0.20.1. Oh, he can't do that because he's not routing. So he can't even do that. I'd have to actually make him a gateway and all this other stuff, and I'll be fudging up the lab, so I'm not going to do that. Let's do this. Can router 3 ping that gateway? Let's do that. Let's do that. No, let's not do that. You know what? Let's do this. Can router 2 ping the interface VLAN on this guy? Switch 2, right? So switch 2's interface VLAN 20 was that right there, or VLAN 10. Let's see if router 2 can ping that. Ping this. Can you ping that, router 2? I mean, I'm ping something. Nope, he can't ping him. So he can't ping that switch right there, even though it's trunking. That's weird. Oh, because he's not going to be doing any kind of routing, so he's not going to have any. No, that's not going to work. So this guy should theoretically be able to ping that guy. That guy should be theoretically be able to ping that guy. So something is wrong, you guys. Can you verify spanning tree on switch 1? Yes, we can. Good question. So show span VLAN. Let's just do show span, right? So we can see what's going on here. The root port is gig 01. It's forwarding for all of VLAN 1, except, yeah, it's forwarding for all of them. So that's the root VLAN. I mean the root switch for that VLAN. Root designated for that one. VLAN 20. Root designated. Root designated. So let's see. VLAN 20. His root port is gig 01. So that's the root port. So then this guy's the root switch then. Maybe that's the reason why. Huh. For VLAN 20. So who's the root switch for VLAN 20? The root switch for VLAN 20 is that guy right there. I think that's what's going on here. What if we make him the root switch for that VLAN? That's a good question. 20.2. Has anybody able to make router 1 ping router 2, or is anybody able to make the other routers ping the other routers? 20.2 must be able to ping 20.1. Otherwise, he cannot ping the network. Yes, that's correct. And that's what we're trying to do. That is what we are trying to do, Danny. In the forwarding state. So for VLAN 20, so look, on switch 1 for VLAN 20, VLAN 20 is our issue here, right? So show span VLAN 20, and the root port is that right there. So that's the root port for VLAN 20, which means the root switch for VLAN 20 is that right there. What if we make this guy the root switch? Because the book didn't call for that. Nah, I think it's good enough that they're in a forwarding state. That's correct. There's nothing blocking for VLAN 20. But basically, this is the root switch for VLAN 20. Even though they're in transparent mode. That's the other thing, too, to look at. That's something else to look into. What if we make him the root switch for VLAN 20? I don't want to veer off this lab here because that's not what the book asked for. But let's verify we've done everything correct. We did the host names, and that's correct. Configure and verifying switch 1 and switch 2 as transparent switches, which is what we did. Both switches are in Cisco and Vtp domain password. Configure and verify FA01 between 02 as trunk ports, which they are. Show interfaces trunk. So that is trunking, right? What about switch 2? I don't think switch 2 will be a problem, but let's just see what's trunking over here. So, come on, wake up, switch 2. I know I haven't bothered you in a while. Enable, switch, show interfaces trunk. He's allowing all of them. His native VLAN is VLAN 20. I don't know if it's VLAN because VLAN 20 is the native VLAN and that's why he can't ping it, but I don't think that's the reason why. They wouldn't have asked us to put that in VLAN 20. But switch 2 or router 2 needs to be in VLAN 20. So we're definitely isolated to switch 1, gig 02 and 03. That's correct. Yes. I'm thinking we may have a tagging mismatch of some sort. Possibly. Maybe gig 02. Well, gig 02 does have the native VLAN as as VLAN 20. And we verified that right here. That's how we verified it. And then this is trunking, so it's allowing all interfaces to pass. I mean, all VLANs to pass. And then FA00. Let's see right here. He didn't say nothing else to do on router 2. Except for that IP addressing, which and it's up. So, and he has a directly connected route. So, y'all know I like to blame it on a bug if it don't work. But theoretically, it should work. As y'all can see, 10.0.20.2. The IP addresses is up. We do a show interfaces, show IP interface brief. We did that. I mean, there's not much else we need to do on this guy, man. Like, we don't need to put him in any kind of special VLAN. He doesn't necessarily need to be trunking or anything like that. Like, it's a switch, so it's not going to be. All right, so it's in full duplex mode, right? Show run interface FA00. Let's do that. Full duplex. We did 255.128, which is /25. I think we've done mostly what all we needed to do here, you guys. Does anybody have any other ideas? Let's do a shut, no shut. That's the only thing I can think of. Shut. And then, we interface FA00. Shut that bad boy. And then switch 1 should have them shut, come down as well. Right, FA00 down. I don't see him down on there. Right, GI03 is designated to forwarding. For sake of argument, can we make the native VLAN 1 on switch 1? We could do that, but we'll start getting those native mismatch errors again. Sending tags perhaps. I see what you're saying. I was thinking that too, but like I said, it's gonna throw off errors and it'll just throw the whole thing off. So let's do this. Let's do a no shut on that bad boy. I don't think that's gonna resolve it, but it is what it is. What else we needed to do? I did so now he's up, right? Show IP interface brief. Exclude unassigned, so he's got 10.0.20.2, and we're trying to ping .1, right? So we do a show IP route, which the 10.20.0 network is directly connected via FA00, which lets us know he has a route to that network. So I can't call it, y'all. The only thing is to chalk it up to a bug. Y'all know how I do, right? When this thing don't work. 20.1. 20.1. Can he ping himself? That's my question. Shut, no shut. And that didn't work. So let's see if he can ping himself. I'm sure he can ping himself. It's 20.2, right? 20.2. Yeah, so he can ping himself. He just can't ping. So he can ping that 20.2. He just can't ping that 20.1 up there. And he don't have a gateway or anything like that, which essentially the gateway should be that right there. Yeah, I can't call it, you guys. And like I said, I've seen where everything is set up perfectly, and GNS3 just decides not to play nicely with us. And let's do a show run interface FA00.20, and this is 10.0.20.1, right? And he's 10.20.0. Show run interface FA00. I'm just gonna compare the interfaces here, you guys. So he's encapsulation.1 Q20. Should have that been on there? Yes, it should have. Well, I'm thinking, what am I doing there? But let's do this. Let's show run for all of these interfaces and compare those interfaces, because those were all tagged correctly, right? Yep, 20 dot. There they go, right there. So it's 100% a layer 2 issue. Okay. So is GI02 a trunk? GI02 is a trunk. Yes, it is. Good question, Danny. So we got that 20, right? We know that these two work. See, even the configs look almost the same. So I really can't even call it. The subnet masks are correct. We know those two sub interfaces, those two no, my bad. This gateway worked, and then the .40 gateway worked. So those two gateways work. But that one didn't work. I don't know who's his .10, whose gateway that was supposed to be. .10 might have been for this switch right here. Let me see the config on switch 1. All right, yeah. Let me let you see that right now. Native VLAN 999. He wants to see the interface, so run. I don't know what exactly you want to see. What you want me to pipe down to, or you want to see the whole thing, or what? But switch 1. We have domain name is Cisco, VTP transparent mode. We got these VLANs 10, 20, 30, and 40. We have these interfaces gig 0, 0. There's nothing on it. We have, what else we got going on here? We got gig 01, which is it's trunk. Native VLAN 20. We got gig 02, native VLAN 20, and that is also a trunk, right? If he decides to wake up and show us, I'm gonna scroll back up. VLAN 20. Oh, did I need to make him native VLAN 20 for that to work? He's in VLAN 20 though, so do I need to make that also native VLAN 20? No, because he is an access port, so we didn't touch him. What do we do with that port right there? Let's say gig. What do you want to see? Let me see the config on switch 1. You just want to see the rest of the config, right? But this is the switch. This is like the interface we got a problem with right here. No, that right there, gig 03, access VLAN 20. It don't need to be in trunk mode or anything like that. Or does it need to be? Hold on, gig 03. Oh yeah, FA0. Yeah, so gig 03 right there. Yeah, so VLAN 20. Yeah, that's correct. What else did you want to see on there? I don't see what else could have been the issue. Just the banner. That's pretty much it right there. Let's go to, I'm going to look at switch. So we know that is an access port in VLAN 20. And that was correct, right? Gig 03. Yeah, gig 03, which is right there. That's the one we have an issue with. It's in VLAN 20. Negotiation auto. Let me put it in full duplex. Just for the record there. Interface GI. I don't think that's gonna be the issue, but let's just put it in duplex. Full auto negotiation enabled. Duplex cannot be set. So let's do this. No duplex. Can't do that. You can't even do that. Auto negotiation is enabled. So let's do the get rid of that switch port negotiation. Negotiation auto. No negotiation auto. Can you do that? No negotiation auto. And then say duplex full. And then see what's going on with router 2. Now they're both in full duplex. Is that the issue? I don't think that's the issue though. Let's see. Can he ping dot? What was your question? That's all. So double check that gig 02 on switch 1. On switch 1, the gig 02. Yes, I'm gonna do that in a second. So can he ping 20.1? Nope. So you wanted me to check this interface on switch 1. Set the speed. The speed is set to auto. I didn't touch the speed on any of those other guys. I didn't change the speed or anything. But let's go to router 2 and see what that interface is. It's set to full duplex, and I didn't touch the speed. Right? And then he's connected to gig 03 on switch 1, which is now show run interface gig 03, set to full duplex, no negotiation auto, switch port access VLAN 20. Yes. Y'all wanted me to switch 1, gig 02. What is your tagged VLAN? So gig 02, that right there, on switch 1, right? So you say show run interface gig 0/2 right there. Native VLAN 20, encapsulation.1q. So basically it's tagging all the VLAN. The untagged VLAN is VLAN 20. Does that answer your question, Brandon? Because I believe the native VLAN is the one that's untagged. So everything else is tagged. Let's see. I'm going to look at this interface real quick. Switch 2's gig 02 interface. So switch 2. I haven't molested switch 2 in a while. Enable. Show run interface gig 0/2. We know that one worked. And that's all we did right there. We put it in this respective VLAN. And that was it. That's all we did to it. That is all we did to it. We didn't have no interface VLAN on that switch. We had an interface VLAN on that switch, which I wasn't too sure. I don't think you're sending tag frames of router 1 sub-interface FA020. And untagged are probably being dropped or ignored by FA00's physical interface. So I see what you're saying, but I mean, why would they design the book that way then? What if we change the VLAN? I don't want to do all of that, because then it'd be veering off what this book designed for this to do here. Because they said, yeah, FA03 on this VLAN is VLAN 20. Because that was VLAN 40 right there. This one is VLAN 40. All right, that guy right there. And that one's VLAN 20. I mean, VLAN 30. Router 3. And that's the reason why they made the last octet to be matching the router number. That make any sense. So I can't even call it, y'all. FA03. Yeah, he said that's what they said. And 02 and 03 on the other one. So that first VLAN. Yep. Sorry, can you show interface gig 1? No problem, man. No problem. I might read it wrong. So gig 02. You want me to show interface gig 02? Is that what you want me to do, or show run? I'm gonna do both, right? So on switch 1, you wanted to see gig 02 right there. So trunk encapsulation.1q is switch port mode trunk. Trunk native VLAN is VLAN 20. So that's the untagged VLAN. So I guess, do we need to remove that? No, because he's gonna have that native VLAN mismatch, right? Is that correct? Let's do that. I'm gonna get rid of that VLAN. No. That's what they said. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that real quick. Interface GI. What's that? 02. 0/2. No switch port. Trunk native VLAN 20. Is he gonna throw it off on the router there? No. So we took that off. I thought they asked us to do that. That might have been the problem. That's a good thing that you pointed out there, Brandon. Remove the tag 20. So let me see if that fixes our issue. I believe that might be it right there, you guys. So we go to router 2. Ping that bad boy, and that is the problem. Shout out to Brandon for helping me point that out. Y'all see that problem? I made a mistake and set this trunk as the native VLAN 20. Why did I do that? Didn't they tell us to put that in okay, so now router 1 should be able to ping router 2, right? Theoretically. So shout out to Brandon Hunter for helping us find that problem. So we go to router 1 and ping. So we're gonna have router 1 ping router 2, which is 10.0.20.2, which theoretically it should because the other one worked. 20.0.20.2. Booyah! Brandon Hunter helped us fix the problem, and so did with a little help of native VLAN 999. So the native VLAN was VLAN 20. Being that this is VLAN in VLAN 20, it was untagging it, so that was the problem. Now, I want to see why did they ask us to set the native VLAN. I want to see what their question was before we move on. Before we pretty much wrap this up. CCNP care of 2011. Shout out to Brandon with that old ass CCNP rusty thing, living in AWS. That's what's up, man. But you helped us figure this problem out, man. That was a problem. So it says here on task 3. So riddle me this. Task 3 said VLAN 20 should have untagged Ethernet frames. Remember that on 802.1q trunks, only the native VLAN is untagged. So I'm going to read that task 3 again. So task 3 said, configure and verify FA01, which was this right here, which in our case was GI01, between switch 1 and 2 as a trunk. Configure the VLANs as depicted above. Then it says, assign the ports to the depicted VLANs. That's what we did. And configure switch 1 as a FA02 as a trunk. So we did that as a trunk. But then it said VLAN 20 should have untagged Ethernet frames. Did they mean on this trunk or on that trunk? Because essentially these are both trunks. But that is in VLAN 20. So we should not have untagged on that trunk right there. And that's the reason why it didn't work. So shout out to Brandon with his rusty CCNP who helped us figure out this problem. And also native VLAN 999 to help us figure out that problem. I don't know where I figured that I needed to put that interface as a switch port trunk native VLAN 20. I don't know why I did that, but maybe I read those steps wrong, or they just worded it wrong in his book. For any of you guys that want to follow along, get a copy of his book from 101 Labs, Cisco CCNA version 4. You get a copy of his book from 101labs.net, or there's a link in the description box of this video below. It'll take you to Amazon. You can get a book. Get a copy of this book from Amazon Prime or just Amazon. You'll get it faster that way. And it's also an affiliate link, so I get a little bit off of that if you get the book. It is authored by Paul Browning, co-authored by Farai Tafa. Experts agree that we retain only 10% of what we read, but 90% of what we do, which is why I like hands-on. And now I'm going to remember Brandon Hunter and his rusty 2011 CCNP that reminded me that switchport trunk native VLAN, you need to make sure that whatever VLAN you're in, you need to make sure you're tagging that frame or else it's not going to come across. And now we're able to ping from router 1 to router 2. And let's do that for the sake of completion. Pray to the network guys that we can ping all 3 routers again, right? Ping router 3, which was 10.0.30.3. He was able to ping. And we could do router 4 with 40.4 and router 2 with 20.2. So the problem there was we had this not tagging the VLAN 20, not tagging VLAN 20, when that should have just been done on here. Don't tag VLAN 20 there, and then allow it across this. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, man. You guys got any questions or anything like that? Brittany, you did great, bro. And squad, thanks. Love the energy. Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate the help. If you guys want to follow along, we do this Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We live stream. We try to wrap this up in less than an hour, but we had probably about 45 minutes of troubleshooting, all because we did not tag the native VLAN on Gigabit 02. So if you like this video, hit me with that like button. Leave a comment down below if you want to see some more of this stuff, or if you have any other ideas and stuff like that. Brandon, we're going to catch up to you and do some AWS stuff because I want to do some cloud computing as well. That's where the cha-ching is at right now. Everything's moving off, loaded to the cloud right now. Share these videos, man. If you guys are joined on any Discord servers or anything like that, or any Cisco Learning Network or any other forums that anybody wants to learn this Cisco CCNA stuff, tell them to join us, man, because this is like this book was rated this lab as a 9 out of 10. It really was a simple issue, but the book is gonna get a lot more complex than this, man. And also, there's a CCNP version of this book as well. So we're gonna move on to that once we wrap up this book. We're on lab number 35, and there's 101 labs in this, plus a couple troubleshooting labs. So once we wrap that up, we're gonna move on to the CCNP book, and I'm gonna take all you guys along with me. So from now, comment, like, subscribe to the network.